The first trailer for Avengers 4 has finally been released, and while there honestly isn't that much that happens in the trailer that we didn't already know about, it revealed that the title of Avengers 4 will be Avengers Endgame, and accompanying plenty of sad dialogue is the appearance of Clint Barton, not as Hawkeye, but dressed like Ronin from the comics. And I think that is more important to this movie than you might guess. Let's talk about what the Endgame might be and what the appearance of Ronin might suggest about the next Avengers sequel. So, as Tony Stark says at the beginning of the trailer, part of the journey is the end. And it seems like many of the MCU characters may be making their final appearance in this film. Obviously, at least part of the film's story will have the remaining Avengers, the ones left behind after Infinity War, finding a way to reverse the effects of Thanos' snap. And, as a few 100,000 people have already suggested, perhaps time travel will play a part in that. And there are clues to that in this trailer. But if our heroes are going to bring back Spider-Man and Black Panther and Bucky and Nick Fury and, well, half the population that vanished, their mission has to come with risk. And no doubt many people will be saved, but I've got to wonder, from a storyline standpoint, at what cost? I'm not going to break down the trailer frame by frame, but I do want to talk about the movie's title, Avengers Endgame. What does that mean? In chess, Endgame refers to the final stage of a game, when only a few pieces are left on the board and one of the players must win soon. And it's pretty easy to get that only a few left part of the definition and tie that in with this movie and the events of Avengers Infinity War. However, in the endgame, sacrifices are also made for the greater good in order to ultimately succeed. And the bleak tone of this trailer suggests that someone will have to sacrifice himself or herself in order to restore the order of the world. It's not a secret that several of the original Avengers actors have fulfilled their contracts at Marvel and are probably ready to move on. Chris Evans, Robert Downey Jr., and Chris Hemsworth have all hinted that Endgame may be their last film. So at least one of them will probably make the ultimate sacrifice in this movie. And that's also what Endgame means to me as a title. A major sacrifice so that others may live and so that our heroes may win. Tony Stark's video message to Pepper at the start of this trailer wants us to believe that it's Iron Man who will make that Endgame sacrifice. And since I'm just speculating about a movie that comes out in 5 months, it very well may be him. But my guess is that it's Captain America. In this trailer, Steve Rogers looks at a photo of Haley Atwell's Agent Carter, and no doubt it's supposed to get us pondering more about time travel and his chance to see her again, but I think it also works to remind us as audiences that Tony has someone to come home to, while Steve has already lost the love of his life. After all, in the first Avengers film, Tony already proved he would make a selfless sacrifice for the good of humanity, despite his persona, so that story arc has been done. Meanwhile, if you watch this Avengers Endgame trailer again, notice that after Black Widow tells Cap this is going to work, he says,
"I know it is, because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't."
And when I watch that in the trailer, I wonder if Captain America knows that he's going to be a sacrifice as a part of the endgame. Maybe he doesn't know what he'll do if it doesn't work, because it's his endgame. It's his end. It makes sense. Captain America making the ultimate sacrifice would be a fitting farewell to Chris Evans' portrayal of the character and to this leader of the Avengers. I think it's his sacrifice to make. Overall, I think all of this is amplified by Clint Barton's new costume in this trailer. He's apparently abandoned the Hawkeye mantle and has become Ronin. That one change, I think, may tell us a lot about the status quo of the MCU post-Infinity War and hint at why the people of Earth may be less than thrilled with their superheroes. For example, imagine that you're one of the survivors after the snap and you find out the Avengers tried and failed, that they lost, that Earth's mightiest heroes weren't mighty enough to defeat Thanos. and now half of the people you know and love are gone. That has to be the setting of Avengers Endgame. I think as audiences we were so sad about losing Peter Parker and Doctor Strange and so forth that there hasn't been much thought given to what living in a post-snap world would be like for anyone. It would be so bleak and hopeless, even for our heroes. While the trailer doesn't reveal how much time has passed for the main characters since the events of Avengers Infinity War, it's worth noting that this trailer for Endgame doesn't feature our heroes suited up or waging war. They're mostly in street clothes, sitting around, sad, and perhaps reclusive. Maybe, in this timeline, the world now hates the Avengers. So it's very possible that the Superhuman Registration Act from Captain America's Civil War will become all the more in effect here. And if this trailer is any indication, this movie is shaping up to be very bleak, and the Avengers will need to restore hope in a hopeless universe. Which leads us back to Hawkeye and this new Ronin costume. If you're not familiar, in the comics, Clint takes up the identity of Ronin after a traumatic event. And while that event in the comics was different from the trauma we saw in Infinity War, we can assume that Clint lost his wife and his children in the snap. In this trailer, audiences first see the new Clint as Captain America says, quote, "We lost family." Presumably now, Clint wants revenge. In general, the Ronin costume tends to be associated with darker Avengers storylines in the comics. Feeling disillusioned, Clint abandoned his Hawkeye identity and took up the Ronin mantle instead. And that costume change reflects a darker, more driven mindset. And while the circumstances in Endgame may be different, Clint's motivations are probably similar. Endgame may be drawing from the Dark Reign era of Marvel Comics in terms of tone, even if it doesn't refer to that plotline. The ordinary citizens of the Marvel Universe were dissatisfied with their old heroes and their collective failure to stop a destructive attack. And I expect the same thing to have happened in this MCU film, which not only explains Hawkeye's new persona, but hints at the stakes of what's involved. My theory is that our heroes won't just be fighting to get their friends back, or to reverse the snap. My guess is that they'll also be fighting for people to have faith in heroes again. And there's perhaps nothing more important than that.
If you find this recording, don't feel bad about this. Part of the journey is the end.
Thanks for watching this video. What do you think will happen in Avengers Endgame? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.